Hey there, welcome to Point A. Sorry I'm a few minutes off pace. Had a little technical issue there, but nothing a little bit of duct tape can't solve. So we're off to the races. Welcome to 12:05 Live here on Wednesday. I'm Coach Kieran Diorio, and I'm here to talk about what to do about all those overwhelming thoughts that tend to buzz around in our minds, what we can do about it. I've been talking about overwhelm for a few weeks now. And as I mentioned in some previous videos, doesn't seem like an issue that's going away anytime soon. So I'm going to keep talking about it and continue to answer your questions. This presentation today is very much a result of a question I kept getting about folks asking, hey, what do I do when my mind races? What am I supposed to do when I can't get control of my thoughts? And I'm basically washed overboard or overwhelmed by my own thinking. So let's talk about that. And I'm going to start with a little story just to kind of put things in perspective. And let's give it a listen, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a very capable person. This person was a leader, a producer, a great salesperson, a terrific mom, a fantastic dad, a great friend, a super neighbor. So in other words, this person had a lot going on. So much so that their mind never allowed them to take a rest. Despite all they achieved, they never felt at peace. The end. So no bueno, not a great story to hear. Certainly not the story we want to live. So let's put this book down and grab a different book that I talked about in my lead-in video. We'll take a couple pages from Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, which is a fantastic read. Check it out, buy it, keep it, read it again and again. Hope you can see this with some of the glare on the camera. Great book. But we're going to take one concept out of here. We'll talk about this, and we'll use this as a technique or an awareness to help us get control of our minds. So let's look at this diagram. This might seem familiar to you. This was what was taught to me for many, many years. Basically, it's that we have a body, and then we've got this super powerful organ right up here in the dome, our brain. And then these two items are governed by our mind. So we've got brain, body, and our mind all working together to help us function, get us the results we want. This is what we're carrying through our lives. What's wrong with this picture, though? What's wrong with this picture? And it's kind of obvious. I think it's something that we all know, but we readily forget. What's wrong here is body, brain, mind. Nobody is watching the mind. Nobody's in charge of the mind here in this diagram. And that becomes an issue, and it becomes very pronounced, so we tend to become very aware of its symptoms when our mind races and we have thoughts that we can't control, and we just get crazy overwhelmed by all the things that our mind is producing for us. I don't know if this sounds familiar to you. It's very familiar to me. So what do we do about this? We've got a way of operating that leaves us in a place where we often end up very much out of control. Okay. Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now talks about watching the thinker, watching the mind. And what does that do for us? Well, I'll tell you what it does. When we assume and accept our supervisory role over our mind, we're then able to observe it and witness it rather than live at the effect of it. When we accept the fact that we're in charge of this, ultimately, it's body, brain, mind, then me. I'm bigger than all this. We can then understand that, hey, I have thoughts, but I'm not just these thoughts. Or, hey, I have emotions, but I'm absolutely not just my emotions. Or I have feelings, but I'm not just my feelings. I'm just in charge of all this. And it might feel a little daunting to accept that responsibility, but that is the way it goes. And once we do, once we accept the responsibility of being a supervisor of the mind, we can then actually detach from what it's doing. And that allows us to observe and witness the mind rather than live at the effect of it. It kind of reminds me of my days coaching baseball when I'd watch a player make a play and I'd think, geez, I wonder why he threw the ball to first base when the play was at home, right? And that's a common thing. But as a coach, I was able to detach from the moment and just think about, hey, what was going on with this player when the ball went to first instead of to home? And that is the same play you can do in your own mind. So I'm hoping this is resonating with you. I'm hoping this is helpful. Think, body, brain, mind, me, when you get overwhelmed with your thoughts. And that awareness is the first step to getting control of that sometimes endless and overwhelming stream of thoughts. And when you accept that role, your control role, the fact that you're the boss, the fact that you're in charge of all this, make a big difference, especially during periods of overwhelm. So, hey, I hope that helps. Again, my name is Coach Kieran Diorio, pointacoachingandconsulting.com. I help high performers accelerate their family happiness without sacrificing their business success. Join me every week here. Next week, I'm going to be talking about an additional step we can take to make our supervisory role in our minds that much more powerful. So tune in next week, and I look forward to seeing you then.